Hey everybody, today I want to talk about my custom Harbor Freight drill press rolling stand that I built using a 15-inch end cabinet and a dolly. I've been using this for a couple months now and I like it, but I need to make some tweaks to it to make it even better. So hopefully we can pick up here and you can see where I'm going with this, and maybe it might be something that you might find useful as well if you have a benchtop style drill press or some other piece of equipment in your shop that you want to be able to move around and have storage below it and work at your height. As you can see, this kind of works out really well. You know, I have a good view, you know, trying to pick up my holes and everything, and ergonomically it's pretty good. So I think I'm going to keep going with this, and we're gonna learn together on this one. So there's about three things that we're going to address here today. One is this tabletop. It accumulates a lot of dirt and debris, and it's not super easy to clean up. So we're going to put a new top on there that's going to make cleaning up a little easier, and it's going to look a little nicer. And it's also going to give us something that we can actually bolt the drill press down to should we decide to do so. I'm kind of torn on that right now because this drill press is actually pretty heavy. But I'll probably screw it down here when I figure out the exact right position for it. Moving on down, the drawers themselves, these ledges tend to accumulate dirt when you're using a drill press. So, and if you try and blow that off with an air hose, you just wind up blowing the dirt inside the cabinet. So we're going to do a little modification here and see if it's going to work, but I think it'll be pretty slick for keeping dirt out of your drawers. And then down here, the Harbor Freight dolly, they're nice, they're inexpensive, but these wheels are pretty terrible. If you put a bunch of weight on them and then you get any kind of dirt on the floor, they're just, it's not a fun proposition to move it around. So we're going to replace those, and we're going to attach the cabinet to the dolly a little bit better. Right now it's just sitting on there on its own weight, which the cabinet's very heavy, but I want a little more permanent solution now that I've been able to try everything out. So let's get started here. I'm going to take everything apart, and we'll start with the dolly. As you can see here, this is the 24 by 16 inch hardwood dolly from Harbor Freight, the Franklin brand. And it says it's got a 1,000-pound capacity. I guess it would hold that, but you're not going to roll very much with these casters. You can see these are just your basic. There's no bearing, just hard plastic, no locks on them or anything like that. So I went to Harbor Freight and I'm looking through all their casters, and I'm looking and it's like they have a really high quality caster that's a swivel, but no solid for the matching that 4-inch caster. And I'm looking through and it's like hardly any of their casters that have swivels have locks on them. And maybe you guys can help fill me in on this one. I don't understand why you wouldn't have locks on them. I guess this doesn't have locks, but maybe I'm missing something. But I'm looking at it, it's like literally there's only a couple options you have for a swivel with locks. So I get them home and I'm looking at them like, I'm not sure these are that much better than what I have on there now. So at the end of the day, I think I'm just going to return these. I don't think they're going to do what I want to do here, especially in the 3-inch diameter. Like I said, the 4-inch in my store, they didn't have anything with a locking option. It wasn't like a terrible quality wheel. So hopped on the old Amazon and bought a set of these. It even came with free gloves, all the hardware, even a screwdriver. 4-inch polyurethane caster with locks, and it's actually metal locks, not those cheap plastic ones that bust off the second time you use them. Fully metal, $23.59 I think for the whole set of 4. So you can't beat that. Not throwing shade on Harbor Freight, I love you guys, but you're lacking a little bit in the caster department. So I know they're making lots of changes, so maybe someday we'll see a little bit better caster selection at the Harbor Freight store, but I think these are going to work pretty well. Now, I'm probably gonna have to, I can reuse 2 of the holes, but I'm gonna have to put 2 new holes in. I'm gonna try and use the original hardware if I can. We'll see. I might wind up using this too. I don't know. I have to check it out and make a decision whenever I get this apart. So I'm gonna pop these casters off and we'll take a look at mounting the new casters up then. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do here is reuse these 2 and actually use the screws they gave to attach for the other 2 sides. Yes, I know it's probably not the most proper thing to do, but you know what? I think it'll be just fine for what we're doing here. I'm gonna put some washers on here since the slots are a little bit bigger, and then just put the original nuts back on. So now we have a nice stable base set up, and I think this is going to be way, way nicer. And I failed to mention earlier that these wheels actually have bearings in them as well, so they're going to roll really nice no matter how much weight you put on them. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now what I need to do is somehow make this attach to the rollers more permanently. So I think what I'm just going to do is cut a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I have laying around, some cabinet grade plywood. I'm going to screw that down on center there, and then this will just sit on top of that, and I think that'll be perfectly fine, so that if the wheels hit something and you're pushing it, it doesn't just slide off of there. So it's basically just a locator. Looks like we're just about 14.5 by 21.25. So I'm going to cut a piece of plywood here, and we're going to center it up and screw it on there, and that'll complete the bottom half. Now I'm not going to bother busting out the table saw for this one. We're just going to use the battery saw, since it's just one piece here. Now I'm just going to center this up on here and screw it down fast. Now it should fit right on top of here on this spacer and not be able to move. So let's give it a shot. Just like that. I can already tell it rolls so much nicer. Next up, we got to deal with the top. Since we love butcher block around here, I got this. This is a 24 by 16 cutting board that I got from the restaurant store. It was like 40 bucks. It was about the cheapest option for me to get a nice wood top without having to buy a whole slab of butcher block. So I do love the restaurant store. I use them for all kinds of things in my shop, especially like wire racking is just fantastic. I have a ton of that here. I have a restaurant store nearby, so I can run down there and get stuff whenever I need to, or they ship like one day, so can't really beat it. What we're gonna do here is I'm gonna cut around the outside so that this fits down into this area here. That way, I don't have to bolt it fast. You don't have the silly gap in here. And then when I'm using the drill press, I can easily sweep off all the chips. They're not stuck in that groove on top. So we're going to kind of do the same thing on the bottom, or on the top that we did on the bottom. And I'm just going to get a good inside dimension from here to here, and an inside dimension from back to the front of this lip. So this one's about 21 7/8. By 14 3/8. I'm going to transfer those lines, figure out the center, transfer these lines, and I'm just going to cut out to this depth around the whole outside. I'm going to cut to the outside of these lines. Now I just want you to know I'm not a woodworker. If you're a woodworker, what I'm doing is probably sacrilege right now, but I don't have all day. It's going to work just fine. You know, you do what you think is best, but for now, this is all right with me. But I understand some people take this a lot more seriously, or this is more like your niche, and that's great. So bear with me. So we got this all trimmed up using my rudimentary tools. Now let's see if it's going to fit. I think it's going to be a friction fit, which is perfect. Get that end started. Perfect. You can see we got a nice fit here and a nice overhang so we can just brush our chips out. I think I'm going to ease the corners on this a little bit just because they're sharp and I don't want to bang myself on them. So we'll just do that real quick. That's much nicer. Now I think we're ready to put the drill press back on top and put it back together. Well, here it is. We got the drill press back on top. We got the drawers back in. And man, it rolls so nice. Really cool. So the next thing we want to address, in fact, it almost rolls too good. Got to use the brakes. Next thing I want to address is the dust in the drawers. To keep the dust out of the drawers, what I'm going to do here is use this 3/16 of an inch door sweep. I got this on Amazon. It was like, I don't know, $9 for 16 feet of it. And what I'm going to do is attach this to the underside here. And when that closes, that'll create a seal between the two so that you can't accidentally blow dirt inside, and when you open this drawer, it's going to sweep that one off. So I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works, and maybe we'll report back on this a little later after I've been able to use it for a while. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to clean this with denatured alcohol before I stick that on, just to give it the best opportunity to adhere. So here are my drawer sweeps installed, and I sprinkled some sawdust on there just to illustrate the point. But look at that. It pushes the dust off instead of allowing it to go in the drawer. See that? I really like this, and I will probably wind up doing this to the rest of the drawers on the rest of the toolboxes in my shop. Now they sell this this door sweep in different colors. They have white, black, brown. They might have gray too. So you pick the one that works best for you. Probably most will be black if you're not white, if you don't have a white toolbox. So since all the Series 3 pools are all black, I think. So pretty neat. The last thing I want to do here is utilize a couple of these hooks from Harbor Freight. I use these so much, I buy a couple, I think, every time I go to the store now because they're so stinking handy. And the back, they put a little piece of soft material on there so you don't scratch up your toolbox, which is really thoughtful. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to put one here and hang a dustpan and broom for cleaning the chips off the drill press. It's nice having something right there that you can just sweep up, go right to the trash. Because that's the most likely place I'm going to be using a little dustpan and broom, so we're going to keep it right on that station. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zip tie a zip tie to the end of my cord, like so. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to trim the one I just used. And then this one, I'm just going to make a loop. Trim that end. Grab another one of these hooks. Put it right there. You can hang the cord when I go to move this thing around. Nothing's worse when you go to move one of these and the cord falls and gets under the wheel. You get stuck, you damage your cord. So let's just give the cord a place to be when you're moving it around. Something stupid, but it actually works. So, well, that's going to be it for today. Even if this isn't exactly what you're looking for, hopefully you can take some of the ideas that I've given you here today and apply it to your own situation and your own shop. I think this is something that could be really useful for a lot of people. A little bit of thinking outside the box. And I think it's great that Harbor Freight offers all these different configurations of toolboxes and whatnot, because it really lends itself to being able to make different configurations and different customizations. And I think we're living in a golden era of tool quality, tool availability for the home shop. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, the things that you could buy versus what you can buy now is just unbelievable. So I'm glad to share, and if you have any ideas or you have any comments, feel free to leave them. Like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing more videos like these, and we'll see you next time. I think I'm going to talk more about this drill press, and I have a table to go on it. I think we're going to cover that in the next video if you're interested, and we'll see you next time.